So we have a triple header of events coming up over the next few months. And now they're finally set in stone, so I can actually tell you what we're doing. So the first event we've got coming up is the Laverack, the gravel event in Scotland. My first UK gravel event, actually. I'm pretty late to the party, aren't I? I just got back from my ride and I was just editing that footage and I realised that it was unusable. The wind noise is terrible, so I apologise. I did want to shoot this video out on the bike to keep it relevant. But nature had other plans, so here we are. We are just chilling now, but I will make the video regardless. So coming up in the next few months, we have 3 events. We have the Laverack gravel UCI event, which is going to be in Scotland. A couple of friends decided it would be a good idea that I should enter it. And I wasn't against the idea. Do you know what? I haven't done a gravel race in the UK yet, and there seems to be a lot of hype around it. So I'm going to be doing that event in about a month's time. I think it's the middle of May. And then a couple of weeks after that is going to be a 10-day stint, roughly, in France, where I go back to the Gran Fondo Mont Ventoux. Even to this day, the video that I edited from last year is probably the most well-received event video that I've done, judging by the comments and the views, and it reached people outside the channel. Other than cyclist, which is not an event, you know, it was just a Strava KOM attempt. The reach from the Ventoux video, I think, has been far greater and has had a far larger impact, I think. And so going back gives me, for starters, the chance to see if I can go back and, well, defend the first place that I had last year. But it gives me a chance to create a nice story around going back, and the course is slightly different. It's not as hilly leading up to Ventoux at the end, but it could still be challenging. It could still be really hot. It could still be windy on the Giant of Provence. So there's lots of elements to going back that I think will create a nice story. So that's the plan at the start of June. That we then have potentially another little trip where I'm going to be going out and supporting somebody doing a race in June, but it's not directly linked to anything that I'm doing. More on that when it comes. But the next important milestone, I suppose, for myself after that is going to be the Étape de Tours in the middle of July. Now, the Étape de Tours is a different beast. It is, I think, undoubtedly the largest amateur cycling event in the world based on attendance. You know, whether or not it's the best, I think that's up for debate. But I've never done it before. So that's going to be exciting to go there. And at the end of this little block, I think going there, and that can be like the wrap up of part 1 of this year, potentially. And the goal, therefore, is to go there and try and pit myself against some of the best people that do these events. And, you know, I'm under no illusion that the Étape de Tours is a different beast. You know, what with the heat, the competition's red hot at the front as well. Then it's going to be really fun to not only train and prepare for, but also to try and be competitive at. The route is savage. It is savage, and the descents are going to be fast and quite scary. And we are going to go there. When I say we, there's a plan for a couple of us to go there and to do a recon, to check the whole route out and to familiarise myself with it, because it'll be very important prior to doing it in July. So that's the plan. Now, in terms of training and preparation, I'm certainly going to take you along in the coming weeks and months leading up to the Etap. The Etap is going to be like the cherry on top of the cake in terms of part one of this year. I always say, you know, my season doesn't really end until like October, November, so you know, part one to end in July seems like a good line to draw. Now, where we are currently, you know, I've just done the British Time Trial Championship, so I'm in good shape when it comes to doing, you know, pretty fresh efforts over quite a long distance, you know, 20 minutes, 30 minutes, an hour. So the next step is to, well, essentially work on my durability or fatigue resistance, as it has become quite a popular topic. There's no doubt about that. You know, whenever you read about, like, when you compare like pro athletes with you know, so Tour de France riders, for example, with, you know, amateur cyclists, one of the first things that people say is, yeah, that guy can do, you know, 7 watts per kilo for 20 minutes, but can he do it after, you know, 2 weeks of racing and 200 kilometers in the mountains? So that's essentially what I'm training for. So my hope is to kind of try and show you a never seen before in-depth look at how a rider is preparing to be very competitive at the Étape du Tour, the Mont Ventoux Gran Fondo. You know, obviously there might be things that you can take from what I do and apply it to your own training or preparation or whatever it may be. But, you know, I am specifically there to try and be competitive at the very front. So, I mean, to put numbers on it, even though I'm a little bit tentative about putting a number on a finishing position for these events, I would like to think that at the Gralach, I would like to aim in the elite category to come maybe top 30, top 25. Even though the course is quite hilly, and I think, judging by what I've heard from people telling me, it's more about trying to survive and knock in a mechanical. So, because that's coming first out of these 3 events, I think I'm going to just use that event as just a big old training session, and see just how far I can get into the event with maybe the front group, and then obviously survive and hope my tyres survive, and the rest of my components, and even myself actually, over the rough gravel. But then Ventoux, I think I just want to go back, and I think I want to put a number on my performance. So looking at what I did in last year's event in terms of my performance up Ventoux at the end, I want to see if I can better those numbers. So even if my finishing position is not a podium, I want to give myself a tangible goal, and a measurable goal, and that'll be one that I can hopefully go out and try and achieve regardless of the result. So that'll be a PB a performance on the Ventoux itself at the end of the Gran Fondo. So a lot of the focus now is going to be on these type of fatigued efforts. So, you know, trying to get as close as possible to doing, you know, if I do a 20-minute effort at the start of a ride and I bash out 360 watts, then after 4 hours and a bunch of kilojoules later, I will try and, you know, get as close as I possibly can to that number again, whatever that may be. The thing with the Étape du Tour, I think I'm just going to have to go there, and with the idea in my head that a top 10 would be fantastic, and a podium would be phenomenal. I won't ever have done an event where so many, because basically all of the top riders come together to do this event. So I think everything has to align for anybody to win. So I think that's the case in order to win. But a podium would be like stratospheric, like wow. But a top 10, yeah, that would be a good goal for the Étape. And then performance-wise, I don't really know. I'm going to have to start getting creative in my training sessions and my preparation and see where I am now, and then maybe create some kind of goal that I can aim for performance-wise for the Étape. But But yeah, it's going to require a lot of thought, because I'm going to have to do heat training. I'm going to have to you know, dial in the nutrition again, because, you know, these events are long enough that nutrition definitely plays a part. Plus, you know, trying to get as many carbohydrate in, as much carbohydrate in as possible in, you know, on hard terrain, and also in potentially heat. So these things I need to start to familiarize myself with again, because, you know, I go through chunks, you know, big periods of time in the winter where, you know, I don't do that, you know, for one reason or another. My sessions are only 2 hours long, for example. So I you know, it's all about just getting back into a routine of going back through the motions again with these things. Your support is greatly appreciated. Just by watching these videos all the way through, it's really, really important. You know, when I watch DC Rainmaker's videos, and he always says, like, one of the small things you can do is watch the videos all the way through, like, and maybe comment, even if it's something really small, just to help the channel and the videos, you know, not just maybe reach other people, but just to be seen by the people that subscribe, because it's not always the case that the videos are shown. I sometimes get messages from people saying, can you remind us, can you post on Instagram that you've posted a new video, because it gets lost in my YouTube feed and I don't see it even with notifications on. So yeah, I just appreciate it if you follow along, and, you know, you leave a like or you subscribe. So anyway, it's a nice day today, but I'm going to go and edit this video and do some more work. So thank you so much for watching. There's the update. I hope you're excited as much as I am, and I will see you in the next video.